All right, everyone's been waiting for the tier list. The tier list is here, but it's gonna be 3 videos because I find it so silly when I see streamers and stuff make a tier list and they've got like Luna Snow and Magneto both in A tier, and they're like, actually Magneto's further up on A tier than Luna Snow. So you can't compare those two characters, right? So I just make 3 videos, one for the supports, DPS, and tanks. This is gonna be the DPS video because that's the favorite, most exciting one, and we'll get right into it. We have T'Challa here to start. And my man Black Panther is very good, very slept on. He had like a 51.5% win percentage in ranked and celestial above on both like PC and console. They didn't nerf him or buff him really. And triple support got nerfed, so now he's even better. He can kill you like lightning. These one above all Black Panthers are ridiculous. I see him get banned frequently. I see him get tournament play. Because one thing I like to do is watch and observe people that are even better at the game than me. So I've watched most of the invitational tournaments. I've seen all the open matches. I'd like to see who gets banned, picked, and whatnot in tournaments. And he does see play. So the best players in the game are using him. You should too. He's very good. Black Widow actually is a lot better this season. They literally doubled her ammo. She went from 8 to 15 bullets. Her ultimate is decent way to finish somebody off. And even though she doesn't have any abilities, she just has mobility in her kick. The fact that these one above all Black Widows are actually pretty crazy, as long as you ban some of the dive characters, um, and she's a character that you probably have to make an adjustment mid game. You can probably get a ton of value in the first half, and then once they switch to playing like Magic and other characters that can track her down easily, you should probably switch off of her. But she's very good. I watched there was an invitational in Asia that just happened, and the Asia one team was running Black Widow and just getting so much value out of her. So people are seeing her this season after the update. She's pretty solid. Hawkeye is in kind of this same B tier as Widow with the same problem, right? If you're playing him and the other team's not running dive, you're going to get so much value out of him, shredding the tanks, picking off support in the backline with those headshots. They buffed his deflect by reducing the cooldown time. They changed the way his triple fire arrows work, and they buffed his ultimate this season, so he's even better. And I struggle to decide which one. I think he is slightly better than Black Widow, but it's close. They're almost the same role. But like I said, once the other team realizes you're playing Hawkeye and they switch to more of a dive or heavy attack, you should probably switch off of him. So he's a character you have to adjust with. Now, Hela is either A plus or S minus this season because she was busted season 0, the most banned character. They nerfed her, rightfully so, and then she becomes very good and a solid, balanced character in the first half of season 1. Season 1.5, she's busted again. They buffed her for no reason. And honestly, I'm like debating if I should put her in S tier, but I think I'm gonna keep her like A plus because I want to keep S tier specifically for like you either need to ban this character or play them. This character's super busted, so she's A plus. Iron Fist, I think Iron Fist is they reworked him a lot, and they changed him doing more damage via the percentage of the person's health, so he does more to tanks. But he doesn't kill backline as quickly anymore. They nerfed that, and that's kind of the main purpose of an Iron Fist is to assault the backline. They gave him more survivability, but I don't know if it was necessarily a buff. It's more of a rework. And until we figure him out more, he's not seeing much tournament play really at all. I haven't seen him really get played in the tournament. I'm just gonna keep him in B tier for now, to be honest. And honestly, probably even put him behind Black Widow. I just don't know if he's that viable right now. Iron Man, I actually do think is pretty good. Them buffing him is huge because now you don't need a Hulk because Hulk was the most banned character. They buffed his damage of his laser beam. His ultimate's still amazing, one of the top 5 like best ultimates in the game. So I do think Iron Man is a really solid character with a high skill ceiling. So I put him in A tier, A minus for him. Magic, I actually think is probably the best of the dive characters. I think Magic, she had like a 54% win percentage, and then they just reworked her ultimate a little bit going into this season. I think she's insane. Her portals give her these invincibility frames so she can get back to her healers after diving in to get back to full health and go back and do the same. She shines also against shield tanks. So if the other team is running like Magneto or Strange, right? Melee is the only type of attacks that get through the shield. So she can brawl with the rest of the team to mess up the Strange. She can also just assault the back line, especially when she ults. So very solid pick. I think Magic is A plus tier. If I kind of separate it here so far for A tier, I have Hela and Magic as A plus, and I have Iron Man and Black Panther like A minus. And honestly, I might put Magic even above Hela, so I'm keeping her there for now. Moon Knight is C tier. The problem with Moon Knight is he gets dove easily. They basically just nerfed his alt with this season. They changed the way it works, right? So what they did is they made it the damage correct because it was a little bit bugged in the wording before. Now the damage is accurate. It does 150 damage per talon that Conchu sends down. But they reduced the speed of how fast they fall. So now it's like sometimes you get caught in the alt, you get hit for 150, and then you're able to get out no problem. Whereas before, the first half of season one, it would fall so quickly that it would kill you a lot easier, and it was really good ultimate. And now it's back to being a mediocre ultimate. And even when his ultimate was really solid the first half of season one, his win percentage on both PC and console for Celestial Above is 42%. Like those numbers don't lie. He's not seeing tournament play really. When he was, he got cooked, so people switched off, and he's just not good. 42% and 41% at the highest level is not viable. I think he's the most overrated character in the entire game, and I'm kind of putting him C tier. And he's a popular character. He is like the best Marvel TV show ever, so it's sad, but I do think he's C tier. Namor is fucking amazing. And I'm like arguing if I should put him ahead of Hela because his flanks are nasty. He is able to kind of control the other team's dive with that purple squid. You go with the Luna team up that they buffed, and he's just really good there. And his ultimate is actually really, really solid. You just have to be skilled with it, right? That's where a lot of the skill with Namor comes in, is how to land his ultimates, to combo him with other people on your team like Strange or Groot and just the ability to be for some reason Nemours are so good at this. They're just always flanking. They throw down a blue squid, they hit you with that spear, and it's like an instant kill combo. It's really solid. He's like right in the middle of A tier, an amazing pick. And Psylocke here actually got buffed. I'll probably put her right here, right behind Namor because of the fact that triple support is no longer like as popular, that makes Psylocke so much better. She actually really did struggle in triple support meta, and just her survivability with her invis move, her ultimate's still amazing. She does quick burst damage and then gets out with her life. She's able to play her life really well. And like I said, no more triple support means she's further up on our A tier. But I think Namor is a little bit better, and I think a lot of people would agree. But right in the middle of A tier for her. Scarlet Witch is probably the worst character in the game. Now I've scrubbed all the tournament VODs I could find, and like the only match I saw her get played in a tournament was against a team that was really struggling. It was a console team that placed like 16th, and they switched to Scarlet Witch and got killed even worse. And they obviously just buffed her ultimate, where they give her an extra 100 health when she goes to ult, and she still will never ever get that ultimate off. Okay, I've seen two Scarlet Witches in my one above all games. Both of them got cooked immediately, never got an ult off. The best analogy comparison for her is she's like a worse she's a worse Psylocke. Like they have both invisibility moves, so they're both good survivable DPS characters. But Psylocke just does more damage, and Psylocke has a really good ultimate. Scarlet Witch's ult is really bad, never gets off, never gets a kill. She just doesn't do as much damage as Psylocke. Like they're both good at like flanking, staying alive, but like one just does more damage and has an ult that's crucial, and the other has an ult that's useless. So I think she's D tier and probably the worst character in the game. Fantastic. I actually put him above Moon Knight, but I think he's like a C plus B minus pick because he sees zero tournament play, right? So the best players in the world that are playing for money are never using him, and that says something. His win percentage though is actually surprisingly good. It was like 50.5 or 51%, which makes me want to almost put him like a B minus tier. But like he's just seeing no tournament play. And so I'm like, you know what? I think I am gonna move him to B minus. But it's like his team up with Invisible Girl is actually pretty solid. I think that's an underrated team up, so I think that's going to bump him up to B tier. But he's like a flex DPS tank, but he's not that great at tanking, not that great at DPS. They buffed his ultimate by giving it 20% more damage, but they like nerfed his ability to like do body shots and get in that mode frequently. So it's a weird like change that they gave him. But I think he's B minus. Human Torch is a really interesting one, and I think I'm gonna put him right. Gosh, I think I'm gonna put him like in the middle of B tier because here's the thing about Human Torch is he's really good with the Storm on your team, and he's bad every other game. When he combos his ult with Storm, it makes Storm's ult into the best ultimate in the entire game that can literally get a pentakill, hexakill. Like it just lasts forever and does so much damage. And the fact that it lasts that long lets you in domination, especially, just take control of the site. So I think he's actually an okay pick in Dom if you have a Storm on your team. And what you want to do is you want to go Human Torch, Loki, and Storm. That way you're not just always waiting for your Human Torch to get his ult if you're Storm. If Loki has it, you can go Loki, copy, Human Torch, combo with Storm, or vice versa. Loki copy Storm, your Human Torch pops. To have three characters that can combo it together to make sure you can always get two of them that have it. But without the Storm, His ult is very mediocre. It's okay, but it's not great. And he himself is like this shotgun as his primary fire, and he's already a flying character, so it makes it hard to land shots that far away. Like he's a very high skill character, and his ult, I think you only want him if you have a storm on your team. So I'm putting him kind of in the middle of B tier. Spider Man is probably gonna go right here for me. Actually, I think he's better than Iron Fist because of this buff that he just got. They buffed his web clusters, and they really buffed his team up with Venom. Venom already got a lot of buffs, so that makes him more viable. And now, when Spider-Man does the team up, it makes him completely invincible when he does the Black Sludge. That's huge, right? The other team's about to ult and kill you. You pop the Venom team up, and now you're invincible. You can survive through it. It's a really cool ability now. I think it does make him more viable. I'm actually going to put him above, probably above all these guys, to be honest. I think with that team up, he's actually a decent dive character. He's still squishy, and is kind of this like quick in and out character. I don't think he's as good as like a Magic or BP, but I think he is much better actually this season. Squirrel Girl is C plus, and here's why. She's better on certain maps than others for sure. She's good on Clintar and Phase 2 where it's super narrow and you can hit a bunch of your nuts. It's funny to say. Her team with Spider-Man's decent, but that they're on like different odds. Like Spider-Man's trying to dive and she's not, but that makes her a lot better if that team up. The reason to play her is her stun with the big acorn is really, really solid. Be able to just like stun a Hulk and not miss it, and your team can melt him. Like that's huge. Her ultimate is so hit or miss because if you pop it, the other team just has to jump on a little box. They jump on the cart. They jump on any elevated surface and it'll never hit them. It only has 300 health now, so you can laser it down. The tracking's a little bit better, but still inconsistent. So you almost have to like combo her ult with like your team Strange or your team's Groot to really just like mow down the whole other team. Um, she had a 42% win rate, guys, last season, Celestial and above, on both platforms. The numbers don't lie. If your win rate is that low, 42%, the character just isn't that good. Nobody's using her in the tournaments. She sees some niche ranked play, and sometimes she's either really good if you have good alt value, or she's really bad. I think she's C plus, just ahead of Moon Knight. Star Lord is like the bottom of A tier. He really shines when you're running the Adam Warlock team up, and Adam Warlock just got buffed a lot. And Adam's like this flex DPS support. So if you're running that with Star Lord, I think it's great. He is a top 5 ultimate in the game. Legendary is like at least a double kill. But you need to calm to your healers. I need to see Star Lords more often. Be like, yo, I'm about to pop ult, pocket me. Perfect. I can look up, pocket you, keep you alive during your whole ult, allow you to get that triple kill. They just buffed his movement though, which is really what's putting him, in A tier for sure. He went from 1200 jet fuel to 1800. That's a lot, right? That's like an extra third of your fuel that got added this season. So it's cool to see what he's going to be able to do. I almost want to push him further up on A tier, but we'll keep him right there for now. Storm. Storm is still very good. I want to say, I think because they buffed Hela, I'm gonna keep him slightly worse than Hela. Storm's right here. So her ult is still really good. They nerfed a little bit of her damage, but buffed her ability to buff her team more. So not nearly as good as she was in the first half of season 1, when she had like a 57% win rate. But now she's still a solid pick, always good. She's one of the most banned characters, and for good reason. And I think she's gonna be in the middle of A tier. Punisher. I actually put Punisher in the middle of C tier. He had a terrible win rate. It was like 42 or 43% on console and like 47% on PC. His ultimate is mediocre. Like he needs to be pocketed so hard by a healer to stay alive because he's so slow when he's doing it that it's like his ult is a little situational. The Rocket team up is great, and without it, I don't think you should ever play Punisher. To be honest, I think if you have a Rocket and then you're running like Punisher Bucky, he can be viable. But I think if you're not running the Rocket team up with him, just don't pick him because he just dies so much. And I think the win rate says enough. He doesn't see a whole lot of tournament play. The only time I ever see him get picked in the tournament is with the Rocket. So if you're not running a Rocket, I'd say stay away from Punisher. Winter Soldier is A minus. He's like a fan favorite, and his ultimate is still amazing. They didn't nerf or buff him, which is great. I think he's in a really, really good spot. His pull though is going to be slightly worse because there's a lot of people playing the thing right now, and his grab doesn't grab the thing at all. But aside from that, he's still very, very good. I think if you're going to be using him every game, maybe ban the thing because the thing's actually better than people think. He's very good into Loki because you're again just by killing a couple clones and get to keep using it and damaging the other team, keeping it going. He's especially better now that there's no triple support. But like I said, he all in all, he did have a 48% win percentage on both console and PC. And so for that reason, I'm keeping him like the bottom of A tier, A minus. Wolverine is S tier. Wolverine didn't get nerfed. He dodged nerfs. Okay. And he was like a 55% win percentage going into the update, and he dodged nerfs. I don't know how he dodged nerfs. I think it's maybe they're thinking they're adding the thing, and he can't grab the thing. So maybe that'll make him a little bit worse this season. But so far, he seems like a must pick, must ban character. And so I'm keeping him S tier. I think he's going to be my only character in S tier because he's ridiculous. He's the tank shredder. Um, the only tank he's even against the thing, he's going to shred the thing. He just can't grab him. He can pull Cloak and Dagger out of their ult and try to kill them almost way better than Bucky can. His ultimate is like a guaranteed double kill as long as you don't miss. I've seen some Wolverines whiff. But he's really, really solid. So this is kind of where I'm keeping the DPS for now. A lot in A tier. And honestly, DPS is the least balanced of the classes. I do think NetEase is really, really good at balancing their characters. But the DPS is like the least balanced of the three classes, right? You have Scarlet Witch, who's borderline unplayable. You have, Moon Knight and Punisher and Squirrel Girl that all have like a 42% win rate. And then you have this B tier that's like a situational tier, right? These kids are playable, but in weird scenarios. Like, I only want Human Torch if I have a Storm on my team. And I only want Black Widow and Hawkeye if the other team's running no dive characters, right? So we should use both our bans on dives if that's our game plan, right? And I only want Spider-Man if we ban him more. And then you have A tier that is like always good, always solid picks. And then S tier is literally you need to ban them if you're not playing them or you're going to lose. So anyways, that's my tier list for DPS. Appreciate you guys. About to make two more tier lists. One for support, one for tanks. So tune in for those next.